The Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, or LIHTC, is famously complex. Essentially, it's a tax credit offered to investors in exchange for financing the construction of affordable housing. Unfortunately, the way the tax credit was designed leaves more than 50% of tenants in LIHTC housing paying more than they can afford. Let's take a look at how this happens. Unlike public housing or Section 8 housing, where a tenant's rent is typically limited to 30% of their income, LIHTC rent isn't based on the tenant's income. Instead, rents are based on income limits, which are calculated using the Area Median Income, or AMI. Only households earning less than the income limit for a LIHTC unit are eligible to rent there. What exactly does this mean? Let's break it down. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, housing is considered affordable if the cost accounts for less than 30% of the resident's income. This is known as the 30% rule. LIHTC rent calculations assume a household size of 1.5 people per bedroom. So a 2-bedroom unit has an assumed household size of 3 people. The income limit for LIHTC housing is usually set at 50 or 60% of the average income in that area, adjusted for household size by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. When we put these 3 pieces together, we can calculate a LIHTC rent. Let's look at a 2-bedroom apartment in Binghamton, New York, that has an income limit set at 60% of AMI. In Binghamton, HUD says that 60% of AMI for a 3-person household is $44,000 a year, or about $3,600 a month. That's the maximum income you could earn to be eligible to rent that apartment. In the LIHTC program, the 30% rule is applied to the income limit, not the tenant's actual income. So then, with rent calculated at 30% of the income limit, you'd be paying nearly $1,100 every month. When a landlord charges the maximum allowable rent, those units are only truly affordable to people at the very top of the eligible income range. Most others will be rent-burdened, or need to rely on additional supports, such as vouchers. A single parent making $22,000 a year is only earning half of the income limit for that same Binghamton apartment. The rent for that unit was set to be affordable to someone making twice as much as them. At $1,100 a month, that single-parent family would be spending almost 60% of their income on housing. Without rental assistance, that's much more than they can realistically afford. More than 2/3 of all LIHTC tenants have incomes below 40% of AMI. Less than 1/4 have incomes between 40 and 60% of AMI, which is the theoretical target population for LIHTC housing. Since LIHTC rents are set to be affordable at either 50% or 60% of AMI, how do the residents making less than that manage to afford them? As many as half of all LIHTC tenants receive rental assistance, either project-based or tenant-based. Even with rental assistance, 2 out of 5 LIHTC tenants spend more than 30% of their income on rent. 1 out of 8 spends more than 50%. In other words, an enormous number of LIHTC tenants are rent-burdened, despite living in affordable housing. There's an ongoing conversation in the affordable housing field about how to make sure that the housing we develop is serving the people who actually live in it. Suggestions include making sure that everyone who qualifies for rental assistance receives it, making sure that LIHTC properties don't discriminate against voucher holders, adjusting the LIHTC program to offer more units with lower income limits, and putting more funding into other programs that better serve people with lower incomes. For more, visit shelterforce.org.